session. So welcome to SGMP Florida Capital Chapter. The date is August 15th? 15th. It is the 15th. I just looked at my watch. I would not have known. It really is. I know. The entire year is absolutely flying by. So anyway, well, how is everybody doing? For those at a distance, we're sorry you're not here. We have tons of food. Matter of fact, I'm going to turn let's get see a little bit. Got chicken and quiche and baked brie and tortillas and and hot sauce, of course. And the salsa is from, oh, I need a spoon for that, don't I? It's from St. George Island.
Okay.
So let me grab a spoon for that.
And you said this is baked what?
Baked brie. It's
What is brie?
What is brie?
Mm-hmm.
French cheese?
Oh, okay. I see it looks like cheese. I was like,
wow. I introduced you to French cheese?
Yeah.
Oh, brie is lovely. It is really nice. You should definitely try it.
I will.
All right, let me get a spoon for the salsa. I'll be right back. Keep yourselves entertained in the meantime.
It's good.
All right, we're back.
This is for the sauce.
That's for the salsa, yeah. And then there's a cutter for the cheese.
Yeah.
All right, well, welcome. I knew this would be a less attended meeting, and my hope was to have it at a brewing company, but seeing as how insanely busy and traveling everyone is, I think it's a good thing we decided to change the location to my office and in the air conditioning, because we'd be sitting outside otherwise. And yeah, I wish those of you at a distance were here, but let's get started. So Leola, are you back home or still driving? Maybe still driving. Okay. All right, I'm going to share my screen here. So welcome. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Hang on a second. Okay, give me a moment. All right, so before I get started, tell me first, you know, because we always have people who watch this later, who you are, what you do, and one interesting thing that happened to you in the past week. Okay, so let's start with that. Who would like to go first? All right, Dr. Moran, go ahead.
Okay.
I can't hear him. Is Dr. Moran talking? Because I can't hear him.
I'm so sorry, I was muted.
Oh, okay.
I'm the one that's normally telling people, get up. I am James Moran, past president of SGMP. I work at Florida A&M University College of Pharmacy, Pharmaceutical Sciences Institute of Public Health as the director of alumni engagement, and I'm responsible with ensuring that our graduates are gainfully employed. One fun fact is that I entered into my first cycling competition, if you will, or in Jacksonville.
You just do that?
I just did it August the 4th in Jacksonville. I was at the Mayport Navy Station. That's what we say. So we had at least 51 cyclists from Miami, Sarasota, North and South Carolina, Tallahassee, and Jacksonville. And the cycling group is called the Major Taylor Cycling Club of North Florida. So I got my first, what do you call it, medal thing? My little ribbon medal. And it was a lot of fun, met the time frame, did 64 miles and
You did a metric century.
mhm,
Wow, was that your first metric century?
yes, no, second.
Okay.
I did one in Tallahassee, and then that was my second one with others.
That's awesome.
But it was really, really good. Wasn't as hydrated as I thought I was. 91 degrees, 3 bridges.
Yeah, but at least it's not Tallahassee Hills. It's very flat in Jacksonville compared to here.
No,
Yes, it is. I was like.
but I'm saying those three bridges. Yeah, those bridges were. Okay.
It's flat except for a couple of bridges. And compared to the hills, it's really nice.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun though.
Good. So when's your next event?
I don't know right now. Got a lot.
To sign up though?
Oh yeah. That's not a problem. I have 3, matter of fact, other trips to take. September, October. Yeah, 2 in September, 1 in September, 2 in October, and just 2-minute trips. Let me just. No, other things, other organizations that I'm a part of, either on the board or or just have membership.
Yeah.
Where I have to force to travel. So, and oftentimes it's never vacation, it's never rest, it's often time it's a lot of work. But thank you.
Yeah, all right, Latrell, what about you? Tell us who you are, what you do, and something interesting that's happened recently in your life. That's a fun fact.
All right. So my name is Latrell.
Now you're muted.
I'm showing. I'm unmuted. So
There you are. I can hear you. Go ahead.
So my name is Latrell Hardwick, and I am a consultant with Hardwick and Downs. And this week, I had the pleasure of marking off something off my bucket list by attending a Jacksonville Jaguar game.
Ooh.
TNT Stadium in Dallas, Texas, always was a stadium that I've always wanted to go to. So I got to see a really neat stadium, and plus we won. So I mean,
that's awesome.
You know, the guys just rained on me all weekend. So awesome. Mm-hmm.
All right. Leola, are you back with us? All right, Leola may not be back with us. So I guess for me, I'm Gabrielle, and I am a meeting planner, and I also have a nonprofit organization that benefits people with disabilities. Let's see, a lot of interesting things have happened in the last week. But let me say, one thing is I'm a speaker, and the greatest honor I've ever had as a speaker is speaking at the memorial services at Ground Zero on September 11th. And I'm happy to say I was selected again this year. So yeah, so I was planning to be up there anyway, but now I get to go up there and read the names of the fallen and send a message to all the first responders. And yeah, so it's very meaningful to me. All right, Leola, are you back with us? Okay. Well, let me go ahead and share a portion of my screen. And we're just going to talk a little bit about networking. Whoops. Okay, hang on, trying to expand this. All right. So it is August the 15th. And I want to say thank you. We had great attendance at the last meeting, and we came up with the mission and the vision for Florida Capital Chapter, SGMP. And the mission is to enhance and promote expertise of government meeting professionals through networking, education, and supporting stakeholder priorities. And here we go. Networking is the very first thing on there. Isn't that interesting? So what better thing to do than to have a little networking tonight? The vision is to exemplify a sustainable organization with strategies that drive exceptional leadership in government meeting professionals. I really like that. And that has a lot to do, I think, with professional development. And our next topic is actually going to be professional development. It is an education session. The second vice president and I, Janet Roach, and I will be presenting on that. And we will be talking about professional development opportunities with SGMP and how to take advantage of all the benefits of SGMP as part of the professional development. So I think that'll be a really good session. So since it's all about networking now, I thought I would start out with some questions, and then I'd love for everyone else to come up with one question you want everyone to answer too. So here's the first question I have. What are you most excited about currently? What are you most excited about currently? And who would like to begin? What do you think of the brie, by the way?
Well, let me say, I wish I was there eating some brie.
I wish you were too. You probably drink wine with me too, right?
Yes. Perfect. I even just bought a cheese set that has FAMU's logo on it.
Oh, nice.
The cheese knife set is what I'm trying to say.
Lovely. All right, you want to begin, Latrell?
Sure. So I'm most excited about my upcoming trip. I leave on Sunday to go to South Africa for 20 days. So almost 3 weeks.
That's awesome. Have you been before?
No, so I've been to Africa before, but this is my first trip to South Africa. So I'll be visiting Johannesburg, Durban, Cape Town. We'll do a safari in Botswana and also visit Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe.
Are you self-safarying? Are you going with a group? What's your plan? Are you staying at
No, we're going with a group. We're going with a group, and hopefully, there won't be any scary situations.
Yeah, I can tell you, I traveled to South Africa, and I had heard it's not good for a woman to be alone. So I went on a scuba trip for what's called the Great Sardine Run. And it's in the south part of South Africa. And what happens is everything that preys on sardines, from birds to dolphins to sharks to whales, they all follow these packs of sardines from the south to the north. But of course, I wanted to combine it with visiting other parts. And my favorite part was the safari. I did bring a guy along with me as a dive buddy, a big guy, so that if anything happened to me, I'd have some protection. But I live like a local, and I've been to 88 countries, and personally, because I wasn't traveling like a tourist, I got to see, in my opinion, the real South Africa, and it just broke my heart. And I think in a group, you're probably going to be protected from a lot of what I saw, but it was very eye-opening to me and very heartbreaking to see the level of poverty. And I've been to a lot of places with poverty, and I even grew up in poverty myself. But there's a sense of hopelessness and helplessness that I felt around the children, especially, that I was around, that I didn't see anywhere else. And it just broke my heart. It broke my heart. And I said, if I ever go back to South Africa, it's going to be on a mission trip. I'm going to be doing something to make a difference, because it was just so sad to me. The racial divide, the level of poverty, the vastness of poverty, but also the blatant racism, in my opinion, that it just feels almost like America was, before civil rights. Just really was shocking to me, the blatantness of it. But I've talked to other people who've been in groups since then, and I think when you're in a group, they protect you from a lot of the icky stuff that you see by yourself. But I just want you to know that even if you don't see it, it's there, and it is. Yeah. And one thing I would encourage you to do, if you're up for it, is get your group to pack supplies to bring to an orphanage or two. And the orphanages are always like so appreciative of every little thing
We actually did something similar when we went to Cuba. So yeah, absolutely. Mhm.
Good. Well, I think they need it in South Africa a lot, and I think it'll
Okay.
it'll be very rewarding for you to do something like that too there.
Oh, thank you.
But that's awesome. I hope you have a great time.
I did too.
Make sure you unmute yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
We adopted a orphanage while we were there. It's called Orlando Orphanage. And so we had returned about 3 years straight, and also made an agreement, an MOU, a memorandum of understanding, with the orphanage, with the local universities, to do a number of things. One, to be able to send supplies, clothing, food, monies for food for the orphanages, as well as provide computers for the schools that did not have it, and try to assist with the infrastructure of getting them internet as well. So I went with 51 of our students for 10 days each year for 3 years, and to allow them to examine the healthcare systems in Africa, in all those areas that Latrell mentioned, and a few that you shared as well. And it was definitely, as you said, eye-opening, very,
Yes,
it touches your heart. Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you.
I'm glad you were doing something to make a difference there. That's really important. So, all right, next question. What are your biggest challenges currently? What are your biggest challenges currently?
So mine right now is time management. I have so many things going on. And the funny thing is I've taken a time management course before, even taught it when I was working in corporate America. But I have my list, I have my priorities with the list, but it doesn't seem like I'm getting as much as I would like to get done before time runs out, or before I'm just, exhausted and like I just need a break, and before I know it, it's the next day.
Well, I like to call it priority management instead of time management, because we all have the same number of hours in the day, and
Right.
so it really is priority management. And it's what you have to do when you're people like us and you're juggling so many different things, is you have to get rid of things in order to make space for the things you want to do.
Right.
So tell me, what's one thing right now that takes up your time that you can purge in order to make space for the things that are important to you, that you want to make priorities?
Cleaning my house before I leave.
So purging. Okay, so cleaning your house is, I can.
I mean, it's not like it's messy, but
No.
I'm one of those types that everything has to be in its place when I get back.
Latrell, I can so relate to that. So what you're saying though is that cleaning your house is something you need to stop doing as much of. Are you like obsessing over cleanliness, or?
I'm not saying I'm obsessing over it, but I do like to have. So let me say this: if my house is something feels messy, then I can't seem to focus completely until that's done. So maybe there is a little bit,
So it's maybe just letting things go a little bit that aren't as important in order to focus on things that are.
Perhaps. And it's funny because I was on a trip with my best friend recently in May, and we were at an Airbnb, and I was in the kitchen washing the dishes, and she was like, "I'm gonna need you to let your OCD go." And I was like, OCD? What?
That's funny. And you know what? I always say this, Latrell, but when people who care about you say something like that, that's insightful. And it's because they care that they're saying something. And so you have to like take a step back and go, okay, there's some merit to this, you know, when someone cares about you and they're saying something. So yeah, what can you do about it? You know, and you
Yeah.
can, you know, maybe start to say, okay, I don't need to spend as much time doing this so that I can then focus on that.
Exactly. Mhm.
Okay, good.
Mhm.
Good. I like that. That's a good one. Leola, what about you? What are you most excited about currently and what are your biggest challenges? Leola, can you hear us? I don't see her talking. I think she's doing something with technology. All right. While we're waiting on Leola, what about you, James? What are your biggest challenges currently?
I think that I may hear too much.
Say that again.
Okay, I think well, I'll just tell you the situation. I have a colleague of mine that when I was a scholarship director at Florida A&M University in the Presidential Scholars Office, I was an advisor. And I remember her calling in. She actually called into the office in error, and she ended up getting me. And she was a single mother, and she wasn't sure she could make it in college. I encouraged her to make it to come to college. Long story short, she received her bachelor's, a master's, her PhD. Wow. Yes. And she called me before she reached out to me the Wednesday. I was going out of town on Friday to Jacksonville. And she reached out to me, and she says that she no longer wants to live. And that just took my heart. And this was about at 5:30. And I didn't know where she lived. I could tell she was depressed. She has no real friends. And so she reached out to me about advice about the people that she works with and them being bullies. Mm-hmm. And so I gave her the number, the contact information about who to reach out regarding that. She reached out to her supervisor, who did absolutely nothing about what was happening with her. I gave her contact numbers to the EEO office to file a grievance. And she said that it seems like the person who she communicated with didn't appear to be empathetic, if you will. And so by me checking back with her the very next day, that was her response. She says, all I need to do is just take all these pills that I have right here and not wake up, and I'll be good to go from there. And I said, no, where do you live? I went and sat with her from 5:45 until 10 p.m. to talk her off that particular ledge. But while I was on my trip and riding, driving to Jacksonville, and while I was riding, I was thinking about that the whole time. Called her while I was in Jacksonville, called her when I returned back to Tallahassee, called her pretty much almost every day, to the point that she says she's no longer in that dark place. Good. But I gave her the 988 number and some other numbers to reach out, and some contacts. I called a wellness counselor that knew her, or that know her, to put that person on the radar, shared the counselor's number with her to make sure that they communicated. So I needed to connect the dots before I felt relieved. But interestingly, that same day before I left, the Thursday before I left, I have a meeting every Thursday. And the first part of the meeting, we talk about health and wellness. And the counselor says, well, if someone reaches you in such a state, you have to act immediately, because he had described that the guy that he was speaking with on the phone said, I wanted to know how it felt to have the cold steel of a 9mm up against my temple, right? And that was frightening to him. And so he ended up doing the same thing. He shared that testimony. And ironically, I get a similar, kind of call and had to act. I'm putting on mute.
There's no irony, it's God winks, you know that, right?
Yeah.
So, wow. But the person is doing a little better now?
Yes.
Good.
I check almost every day.
I have two people in my life who I'm having to talk down off of ledges almost on a weekly basis. And they're both young people. And that I would say those are my biggest challenges too, because, when you're people like us who care and we're busy and you drop everything when somebody's in need, right? And you have to, because you just don't know, if they're going to act on it, and often they do. And I have seen people who have acted on it, including in my own family, so who are no longer with us. So that is definitely a big challenge. Now, you mentioned bullying. Bullying is one of my areas of expertise. And a week ago, I was speaking at back-to-back conferences, one in St. Pete Beach and the other one in Orlando. And the one in Orlando, I always do a kind of a needs assessment, a quick survey before an event to kind of get my finger on the pulse of what's going on. And with the second group, what I learned is that what was going on was bullying. So when you mentioned bullying, a lot of bullying. And my topic was next level communication. So I started out really fun and doing kind of team building communication things, but I kind of let the people know who answered the survey, I heard you, and I'm going to be addressing everything that was put in the survey. And then the second part, I focused completely on bullying. And what I said is that bullies are people who prey on the strong and they enlist the weak. So bullies find the most confident people. They perceive them as a threat, and they do everything in their power to neutralize the threat. It has the equivalent impact on a person as domestic violence. And this is why you have people then, at first it seems subtle. It doesn't seem like bullying. And then the person starts to question themselves. And then it just gets to their psyche, and it just causes this downward spiral. And the only way to stop it is to confront the bully. And there's nothing worse in an organization than when you do try to do something about it and nobody acts. Because while bullying itself is not yet illegal, there are many parts of bullying that are illegal, including creating a hostile work environment. And so, I was just on a call for 90 minutes right before this with 3 people who are bullied in this organization that I was telling you about. 3 people, and all of them were sharing these stories, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, and it's been going on for years. And when I say a bully is someone who preys on the strong and enlists the weak. So what has happened is this bully started pulling in other people, and they've started bullying too. Right. And so it is toxic. It's awful. Anyone who has ever been subjected to bullying themselves knows how awful it is. And and I feel for your colleague, and I hope she gets some help too, because that's heartbreaking. Whew. Right. Yeah, and then what happens when you're dealing with all that is it makes all these little things seem so trivial. Yeah, it does. So, Leola, can you hear us? Oh, she was just there. You just turned off your camera. You look so great, smiling too. Oh, there you are. Can you?
Yes, I'm doing good. Thank you. Thank you.
Good. Leola, what are you most excited about currently?
That I'm getting back to a place that I feel like I could start back. Doing some things that I used to not do, getting my
That's
strength back. Yes.
That's awesome. Do you want to share anything that you're starting to do again?
Not yet.
Okay. That's all right. That's all right. That's awesome. You're on a good path. That's really good.
Thank you.
What are your biggest challenges currently? We mentioned priority management and actually two of us mentioned talking people down from self-harm.
Mhm.
What are your biggest challenges currently? Tell us something lighter hearted.
Mine is trying to get people to realize this day might be a bad day, but tomorrow is a new day. And sometimes we take a nap and we wake up, we have energy to do things.
Yes.
But sometimes people will try to tear you down because that is something they feel within themselves. And the part about bullying, it's really goes so many different ways and it's so many out there. And like you said, no one want to confront them or get as a group and just say, we are concerned. Is it anything we could help you with? Because sometimes they are hurting themselves
They
and all
are.
they know how to do is hurt someone else.
Yeah, Leola, that's very insightful. And really, bullies are motivated by insecurity. They are hurting. And there's this saying,
Yeah.
hurt people hurt people.
Mm.
But unfortunately, they mask it with a big ego. And unfortunately, what they do with their insecurity is they tear other people down to make themselves feel better. And
Yes.
yeah, and it's awful. So yeah, they are motivated by insecurity. I often tell the target of the bullying to perceive the other person as a scared little boy or girl, because that's really what they are. They're carrying a lot of hurt themselves and that they don't know what to do with it. And they just come off as this horrible person. It's really awful. So, but I love hearing your thoughts on that. And it's so nice to see that you're feeling better and you look great. And I'm just so glad you're with us, on the board and active in the chapter and really happy you're here.
Yes, so am I. Rita and George say hello.
Oh, welcome.
I talked with them last evening.
Aw, gosh, I miss them.
Yes,
To have a retreat up at their place in Georgia.
yes, that's what we need to tell them. We're coming up for a
Yeah, we're
retreat.
coming up. Get ready. The family's coming.
And that's exactly what she said about SGMP, that we was always a connected family and talked about the trips all of us used to
Yeah.
go to and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, I would love to get Rita re-engaged. I know she's still a member and I'd love to get her plugged back in too, because she is awesome.
Yeah, so I will encourage her to call in sometime.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful. All right,
Thank
so here's a happy question for everybody. Here's our next networking question. How do you like to relax? How do you like to relax? Who would like to begin? Go ahead.
I'm a movie person. I love action movies. I can sit and watch those. Just shoot 'em up, bang bang types. The war and adventure type movies with a lot of action and a glass of wine. Stella Rosa, different flavors of that is pretty good. And maybe some movie theater popcorn, but especially if I always had what's here, that would be even better.
And what I do with relaxation, I love sitting in the middle of the bed,
All
watching
right,
movies.
great.
And
Let's hear
then
from
I'll
somebody
have,
else. How do you like to relax?
yes. And I have chocolate in one little bowl and then popcorn in the other and water.
Say that
That's
one more
it.
time, Leola.
I said what I love to do is sit in the middle of the bed and watch the different movies and have popcorn in one bowl and chocolate in another bowl, and a water bottle.
Nice.
Yes.
I like to start with the salty, like the popcorn, and then have the chocolate, but hey, I think mixing it is good. So,
Yes.
nice. All right, what about you, Latrell? How do you like to relax?
Oh, I like to be near bodies of water.
Yeah,
So to relax.
That's nice.
Lately I've been going out to see sunrises, and a couple of sunsets, but that's primarily what I like to do here at the beach. Mhm.
I would love to be that sunrise.
Mhm.
yeah, I was in St. Pete Beach speaking at the Don Cesar last week, and it was really, really lovely to see the sunset there. But I like all bodies of water too, and I really enjoy scuba diving in them. So that's one of my forms of relaxation is scuba diving. So most of my forms of relaxation are relatively active. So I like bicycling and, I like just being outside. If I'm outside, I'm happy, you know? So outdoors is great, but indoors, I like animals. So I have a foster kitten now who needs a good home. And he's adorable. His name is Cameron. So if you're looking for love, I have the sweetest little love bug, and he likes other kitties and pups. And I find that relaxing taking care of animals too. So,
Oh, okay.
mhm. All right. Last question. What is your ideal vacation? What is your ideal vacation? Who would like to begin?
I will.
Okay.
My ideal vacation is going somewhere, no, not having to go to a meeting or our family that got together and say, oh, let's meet here and let's meet there. I just want to relax, and we just go day by day, definitely at a beach location. And somewhere I could do some sightseeing and touring and all of that. As long as it's not hot, hot.
It's been hot everywhere lately, hasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So what's your favorite beach?
To be honest, I love Daytona Beach. It is
Oh,
so beautiful. And I like to stay directly on the beach. They have some little neat cabanas, what you call it, cabanas that you could stay in. Yeah, the cabanas that you could stay in, and you could sit out on the porch and have, little drinks. And then if you have a portable grill, you could just throw some little marshmallows on it or do whatever.
Nice.
But it's so nice. Not the summertime to me, is more
Huh.
closer to when the summer is leaving.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
Yes.
All right, who's next?
All right. Two places. The beaches of Puerto Rico. One of my Army buddies, Jose Merced, has invited myself and Tom Kennedy. We all were in the military in one unit together. And so we're looking to go to Puerto Rico. And then my final place, another beach, I want to go to Honolulu. Those two places are on my bucket list. So I'm excited about those to kick back, speak the language, definitely Puerto Rico, because I'm taking some courses now, but that's what I want to do.
Very nice. Latrell?
Okay, so I'm going to one of my favorite beaches is in Hawaii, but it's on the island of Kauai, Honolulu Beach. And so for me, my best or my most favorite vacations would always have water and mountains in the background, and some hiking, some nature. Yeah, so those are the things that I like if it's my ideal vacation.
Very nice. Well, there's some mountains and beaches in South Africa too, so.
Yeah, I've heard. So
Yeah.
can't wait to see it. We'll have to see first.
That's nice. Yeah, I
Mhm.
like beaches too. I really, really love the Gulf of Mexico the best. So when I was in St. Pete Beach, it was beautiful. And I was scuba diving on Saturday in Panama City. It was beautiful. You know, I really like the powder white sand and the aqua colored water, and it's just very special. So, nice.
Tower Beach, did you ever climb the Tower Beach? Whoops. Yeah, I climbed that.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, speaking of beaches and ideal places, Maui right now, my heart is with Maui and all the people there. Oh,
Yeah.
it's just heartbreaking.
Oh,
Just heartbreaking.
Right.
Truly, truly.
So let's end on a positive note. Anyone want to share something positive before we hang up?
I could say coming out the building today, it was not as hot as it was yesterday. So it's cooling down a little bit, and that's a positive thing for me.
Awesome. All right. Who else has something positive to share?
Well, I'm hoping to close on a commercial property this week.
Ooh,
Keep our fingers crossed, our toes crossed, all that good stuff.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
And do you want to tell us a little about it?
Oh, so it's a commercial property. My brother and I are going into business together, and we have a contract with the Department of Motor Vehicles to inspect cars, and so we need a particular type of garage, and we found one. We're excited about it, and so we're hoping that we can get all the paperwork and everything signed this week. Certainly before I leave for South Africa, but it may not quite happen. But I'm speaking positively. Speaking positively. Hopefully it'll happen.
That's great.
Yeah.
Dr. Moran, what you got positive this week? Or something positive to say?
Yep, retiring in 4 years. And doing what I want to do. Yeah, and the other exciting part is what Dr. Gabrielle and I talk about is soon to be attending in the month of September a writing class. Just so happened to be in Jacksonville as well. It's a 2-day writing course because I had started writing on several publications, but you know, things get in the way and they should not get in the way, but I put it on the back burner. And I had a friend of mine who mentioned to me about this course that I'm going to go down there and spend those 2 days learning new things about getting my books published. And the other thing, Sunday, I sat for 2 hours with this guy. His name is Jeremy, I think Anderson, and he has a speaking academy. It's called Next Level Speaking Academy. And a number of those testimonies went well for those that invested in the academy are now making 6-figure, salaries by what he has introduced to them. So I spent 2 hours taking notes, and I'm not ready to invest the money right now, but it's $3,000, and but I will take some of the notes and move forward on them.
Yeah, and I can tell you from experience as a John Maxwell team member, they say 3,000 and it ends up being 15,000 because you start out with 3 and then they want you to come to conference and then you've got to pay for mentorship and then you've got to pay for material. Before you know it, honestly, what I've learned is a lot of this stuff you can do yourself. So take advantage of as much free stuff as you can. If you have a dream that's beyond where you are now, you're thinking what's after retirement, tap into all the free resources that are out there. And I really don't think that you need to sink a lot of money in. I think that there are a lot of people out there capitalizing on people wanting to make money and they end up taking your money and they seem really good because they're great salespeople.
Yeah.
And they'll introduce you to all these people making six figures and then, and then it just doesn't happen. So I can tell you from experience that a lot of people join, and I'm just even talking about the John Maxwell team. It almost, and I love John Maxwell, but I don't think that the whole concept was set up in the way that I initially thought it was. And I've known a lot of people who've sunk, tens of thousands of dollars in, and how much money are they making from it? They're not.
And
So
and that's what it was. I
Yeah.
had to really step back, listen to it, think about it, not act
yeah,
until, and I said, and a lot of people did,
yeah. So
but anyway, thank you.
yeah. So yeah, for me, and my ideal vacation is just somewhere I can unplug completely. So some of my favorite vacations have been ones where I'm completely disconnected from the world. So I go off on a boat for 10 days and it's called a live aboard, and there's no connectivity at all. There's no electronics other than the camera that I'm taking pictures of things with, of nature. And yeah, I think it's time to plan another one, because they really do rejuvenate me to completely unplug and just enjoy nature and taking pictures and, just diving, and it's pretty awesome. So, all right, well, we're wrapping up our networking here. Any final thoughts about networking and good questions to ask? Any really powerful questions you found work really well in a networking event?
Well, I would say not at a networking event. I oftentimes would say, what would your message be if you had to motivate someone? What would your message be? What would you share with them to re-engage them or to rejuvenate them to diving deep into their passion? I don't know.
That's a good question. Now it is good if you have a question for someone else to have an answer yourself, though. So what would you say?
I would say two things. Pretty much what you would say: list your priorities and move in the direction of those priorities. Ignoring the obstacles, just focusing on the mission at hand.
Okay, good. You said you had two things. That was one. You did. You're tired, aren't you?
The other one would be focusing on what the second was. Getting my mind right.
That's okay. We're all tired. It's fine. All right. Anyone else have a really good networking question that's worked well for you?
Well, it wasn't so much as a question,
Latrell?
but yeah, can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
So it wasn't so much as a question, but we would do networking events in my corporate job. And so we were always told that we should have a 30-second commercial on how to sell yourself. So I don't remember what mine was.
Oh, I love elevator speeches. And if you want me to do a piece on elevator speeches, I think I can do that for you. Yeah, elevator pitch or elevator speech. And 30 seconds is actually long these days. You want to make it really short and intriguing to get, so when people say, what do you do? That you have a really good answer that gets them like, oh, wow. So.
Yeah, or you can always ask a person, tell me about yourself.
Yeah, that's
what do you want me to know about you? So,
and Latrell, that's a good point, because I think what happens a lot of times at networking events is that people are so hung up on talking about themselves.
Right.
But the best networkers are the ones that are making connections by asking questions. So, tell me about yourself, or what brought you here, or, and even asking some of these kinds of questions. What are your biggest challenges currently? What are you most excited about?
Right.
So,
questions I didn't see all of them.
Right, instead of just, what do you do? What's a typical day like for you? I don't really like that question because no day is
I
typical.
don't either.
There are no typical days. So, but anyway, well, listen, thank you all for being here. It's a small but mighty group. Next month we have, yes, September 19th is the next session, I believe, September 19th, Tuesday. And we are going to have a great session on, what did I say it was? On professional development,
Mhm.
including professional development opportunities through SGMP. So, all right. All right, everybody. Thank you for being here. Have a great rest of your evening.
Same to you, everyone
Yeah.
else.
Thank you, Leola. Take
You're
care.
welcome. I
Bye.
will. Bye.